Hey everybody, welcome to the Rusty Osborne Show. We're at the campus of University of Alaska Anchorage, and February's coming, and that means basketball heading into the people are deep in their conferences, and it's exciting all the time, but especially February heading into March.
Yeah, I think the big thing that you said is February's coming, and if we look outside right now, the last time we did this in here, it was dark, and it's not dark yet. So
You
that's
couldn't
kind
stand up when the last time we were here.
so that's kind of nice. But yeah, we're entering the second half of conference play this week, and 9 games left, 9 guaranteed, and we're going to try and earn ourselves a postseason berth.
And just talking about postseason, again, I feel like I'm a basketball person. I try to follow things closely, but for those who aren't exactly sure, how does it work in the GNAC? How do you get? Does everybody get to go to the tournament,
Yeah,
or
so
you have to finish a certain spot?
yeah, GNAC, we're a 10-team league, and we take 6 to the postseason. Um, First and second get buys, and then 3 plays 6 and 4 plays 5, and then they move on to play 1 and 2. So it's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I think this year it is the 6th, 7th, and 8th of March. Opening round games on Thursday, and it's men and women at the same time. This year we flip flop. One year the men play in the afternoon and the women play in the evening. That was last year. This year the men will play afternoon and the women will play evening, and so that comes up a little over a month, about 5 weeks from now.
Is that at St. Martin's?
It's at St. Martin's this year. It kind of rotates a little bit, but St. Martin's probably gets it 2 out of every 3 years.
Kind of centrally located.
Yeah, centrally located. They have good parking for that many teams and fans, and yeah, and they've got a nice size facility as well.
So you guys are just coming back from a road trip. We talked prior to the start of that road trip, and it's really, I think what you said last time is the toughest road trip of the year because there's extended travel in between. There's no opportunity. You're changing hotels. There's all those things working, and to play 2 close games and to really, you didn't get as good as you deserved maybe on those 2 games.
Well, I mean, we're playing 2 of our oldest rivals. Fairbanks, of course, is the team we've played the most, but we've been in a league almost continuously. Well, we have been continuously with Seattle Pacific for quite a while. Billings was out of the league for a number of years, but they came back. And so other than Fairbanks, these are the 2 teams that we've played the most often. And of course, over the years, you build up a little hostility, but also a great deal of respect, I think,
Right.
Between each other. And
Shake hands at the end.
Yeah, and we have good games with both of them. Unfortunately, this week we came up a little short in both. Played Seattle Pacific. We got off to a good start, and like has become an alarming trend for us is we had a section in the middle of the game where we struggled to score and get the ball in the basket, and got down to the end, and they made a basket, and we missed, and then we had to foul, so they got up 4. You know, it was basically a 1 possession game, and they came out on top. Unfortunately for us, during that game, Sean Evans, who is, of course, our starting point guard, second on the team in scoring, first on our team in assists, one of our better defenders because of his size, and he went down with a knee injury, and it is probably not going to be a great diagnosis. We don't have an official diagnosis, but we know he won't play for the next couple of weeks, and he's still waiting to get it in on an MRI, and once he does that, we'll get the final. But we know we'll be playing without Sean for a while, and we played without him last Saturday night at Billings. We actually flew Sean home on Friday, so he wasn't dragging that leg around through multiple trips and sitting on the sideline. So we went to Billings and had a good day of practice, and we had a good game, and we led quite a bit of the game. I don't think either team led by more than 6 or 7 points, and again, I mean, we had a chance to tie with about a minute left. Ran a play, executed the play, missed the shot. They scored. We scored and then got a turnover and had another chance to tie the game and didn't score. And then, it ended up being a 2-point game, a 1-possession game. So that's 3 in a row that really come down to the end there, a 1-possession game that, a defensive rebound here or there, or one less turnover, or one less missed layup, or a couple made free throws might have made a difference. And so we're frustrated, but we're trying to remain optimistic as well and understand that, we've got half the season left to play within the league, and we don't need to panic. We've just got to get better each day and try to turn things around.
Well, I remember Gerald Wright. Remember that name?
Yeah.
So Gerald Wright, point guard at Southwest Texas, and the problem was there was no number 2 point guard.
Right.
And Gerald, to put it kindly, he was in great shape for a golfer, but he wasn't someone we could leave on the court all the time. But that's not the case here. You have others that can certainly step up, others with experience, others that you can win with. So despite losing the services of one of your best players, you're going to be ready to go.
Well, we had Dylan Barrientos, who was, started all 30 games for us at that position. Struggled first part of the year. He had a serious ankle injury right before the season started, and just never kind of recovered from that, first physically and then mentally. But we know we have a lot of confidence in him. Problem is for the first time this year, he got in foul trouble and only got a chance to play 21 minutes the other night. So at that point, we're playing Zach Ibbotson, who can play a little point guard, but is more of a natural 2 guard. And then Luke Johnson, who walked on for us this year and had only played in 1 game so far, had to come in and give us a few minutes because of that also. But LJ, which we call Luke Johnston, did a nice job for a freshman thrown into the fire, and Zach did a nice job also. But neither one of them are the level of point guard that Dylan is. They would admit that, and so hopefully we can keep Dylan in the game a little bit longer as we move forward.
I know in starting last year, he hit a lot of big shots in games, and he could kind of be a go-to too. So I'm looking forward to watching him play. How would you, in looking ahead, what do you expect from this week?
Well, we played these 2 right after Christmas. We went into it having had a lot of success defensively right before that. We were guarding at a high level, and whether it was the Christmas break, lack of practice leading up to those games, we did not defend well at all. But we were able to score, and we were able to outscore Simon. Simon, since that time, has added a kid who had started for him last year, 7-footer, had gotten injured, and had decided to give up basketball, but over the last few months decided he wanted to come back. So he started playing for him last weekend. He's played in 2 games so far, and so he gives them a little different dimension than we had when we played him. But we are familiar with him because we played against him the last couple of years. But they've got a little bit more quality depth, and they can score the basketball. So we're going to have to try to defend and rebound a little bit better, and we're going to have to be just as good offensively against them. I mean, they beat a good St. Martin's team a week ago. Their other 2 games in the last they've played 3 games over the last 8 days were 2-point losses near the buzzer, and so Simon is playing much better. But that's Saturday night. Western Washington we will play on Thursday. We got a win down there. They did have one of their better players missing during that game, one of their shooting guards. So he'll be back. So we'll be playing a different Western Washington team as well. But again, our guys are frustrated, but I don't think we're lacking confidence. But we do have to make some corrections. We have to defensive rebound the ball a little bit better, and we've got to make sure we're taking advantage of those opportunities when we get them around the basket and at the free throw line.
That's an interesting story about a guy that is walking away from basketball and then he just decides to come back, or any sport. I'm just thinking, I'm sure it's happened a few times, but it's not a common thing.
Yeah, especially a guy who is 7 foot and had started for him for a couple of years.
He's going to be a librarian.
Yeah. So
He'll get the books off the top shelf, but he should be playing basketball.
He's back, and he'll be a challenge for us. But again, we played against him, so we've got a pretty good idea of some of the things that we can do to hopefully counteract him.
So we talked briefly about postseason possibilities, and wonder if you can break that down for it, because as you look at it and you look at the games that are left and home and away and games we have to win, and really to get in the top 6, that's a top goal, because once you make it there, people get healthy, things change, anything can happen.
Yeah, I have not looked at the standings, so I may be a little incorrect. I believe that right now, I believe Nazarene is leading the league in first place and Central's in second. I believe that Fairbanks, let's see, I'm sorry. So I think St. Martin's and Central are tied for second. And then I think Fairbanks is in fourth, tied with Seattle Pacific. And then I believe Western Washington's in sixth, which is the last playoff spot, one spot ahead of us. And then we're in seventh, I believe. I may be missing somebody there. Yeah. But I know this, we have to win quite a few more games in order to qualify. Good thing is we're playing Western, we're 3-6, they're 4-5. And so we get a chance to play
quick way to move up.
I believe that's it. We are actually in eighth. Western and Montana State Billings are tied for sixth, so they're 6-7, we're 8. But we get to play Billings, we get to play Western Washington, we get to play Seattle Pacific, and we get to play them all at home. And so we've got a chance to.
Ideally, you get one, and they get one on the other side.
Yeah. So if we could get Western Washington, that would give us a tiebreaker on us, so they would have to finish a game ahead of us to beat us. So.
And one thing I like what you mentioned, I really like that format, and the high schools have kind of got a different format with 8 teams, but to have 1 and 2 have a bye, I know how it works in the high schools when it was 1 versus 8. It's not really a competitive game,
yeah.
But those top teams, they get byes, and then you're playing a game you could win. Like 3 versus 6 can win that game.
Yeah.
And 4 versus 5, they're not playing 2 or 1.
I think
like that setup.
Yeah, I think there's two philosophies on that setup. I think one, it's a cost saving for those teams at the bottom. I mean, it is an expense to go to the conference tournament, especially for outliers. Us, Fairbanks, Billings.
If you're one and done too.
Yeah, I mean, you're spending a lot of money to go lose one game, but also it also brings the meaning back into the regular season when you can earn byes by finishing the first or second. Mm-hmm. There is some meaning to the regular season to not only finish first and second, you get one thing, to finish in the top 6, you could continue to play. So we'll always use the term, we have 9 games left with the ability to earn ourselves some more games. And, we control our own destiny. If we win, they can't keep us out. I mean, we're not going to break any rules or do any of that stuff to get ourselves eliminated. And so, we're in control of our own destiny. If we can defend and we can score and rebound the basketball and come up with some wins, we'll get a chance to earn ourselves a trip to Lacey and a chance to win 3 games and go to the NCAA tournament.
I wonder what your philosophy, I've heard a lot said about, we just saw it in pro football, and that is the bye week and earning the bye, and whether it is an advantage to win a game and have that momentum going forward to sitting around. Maybe it's a different deal in football because that involves a week.
Yeah, I think
What's
that's the
your
big.
take on
I think
that?
that's the big difference. I think that you get a bye in football. You're out 2 weeks, sometimes more, because it wasn't just a week between all those games. I think a few of them it was 8 or 9 days. And
right.
So, I mean, you're sitting around. Yeah, you're getting a chance to heal up, but you're also losing a little bit of rhythm. The other thing, even playing, there's that preparation of a week of the team that you're playing, the lesser ranked team, if you will, having a chance. In basketball, they're playing at 7 o'clock the night before or 2 in the afternoon next morning, and having to come the next day and prepare for you after having to prepare for another
Right.
opponent within 24 hours and prepare for you. So I do think in basketball it's a little different. You've got a little bit more advantage just because of the time of preparation. And as the team with the bye, you can kind of prepare for both teams, maybe a little bit more by the one that you think is going to win, but you've probably also prepared for that other team, so that once that game's over, now it's just kind of clarifying your scouting report and who you're playing and what you're going to do. And that's a little easier than having to do an entire scout and participate against the team, and then all of a sudden, okay, now we got to concentrate on team X.
And then, there's the tired legs,
Yep.
which I know you and I were taught that second day, that second half. And then if you play 3 days, and if you're one of those teams that happen to play 3 days
Yep.
in a row.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, we've had to do it a couple of times. We had to do it last year. We played Thursday, one, played Friday, one, and then we played the host team Saturday. And yeah, I mean, they had a bye, so they only played one game. And I don't know how much it affected, but it probably affected us. We weren't playing a deep team at the end last year. We were playing basically 7 or 8 guys, and so we were probably worn down a little bit against a little fresher team. But they were a good team. But yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, the bye helps you stay a little fresher.
Well, I almost hate to confess to this, but I'm considering a trip to the moon and maybe going to Fairbanks and watching Tobin. Not have much to say. No, I'm just kidding. But if I'm not on the moon, I'm going to be here Thursday and Saturday. If you don't see me, it means that's where I'm at. But it comes at the time in our show where we like to tell the Harry Larrabee story, and on the way over, I kind of thought through mine. So here we are. We're at Southwest Texas, now Texas State. Population, they have 40,000 students now. But when we were working with Coach Larrabee, we would have the rivalry. We would play tennis, which we probably should have been in the film room or recruiting or something. But it was good for our staff togetherness for the most part.
Yeah.
And so one thing, Harry was a really good tennis player, and I was a tennis player. So he was 1, I was 4. You and Jim or Dusty were in between. And so Harry would use gamesmanship and we would win our share, but finally we were starting to lose games. So he said, okay, I'll meet you at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. So we're practicing for these games because Harry didn't like to lose that game. And he wanted to always have that over Dusty.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I think it was one time we were practicing and there was lightning. Well, I'm from Alaska. I don't know what lightning is. And I'm looking, I'm actually thinking this is pretty neat. I get to watch lightning. But I look over at Harry and he's putting his racket cover off because we're going. Apparently you don't stay around with a metal thing during lightning. So I'll never forget those tennis matches with Coach Larrabee.
Well, I'll piggyback off that since we're talking about those matches, and I think it was actually after you left, we were still playing them, and we got to the point where when you were gone, we would sometimes have a fourth, but a lot of times we're playing cutthroat, 2 against 1. You play the doubles court on the 2, single gets hit to the doubles court, the doubles got to hit to the singles court, and the Coach Larrabee rivalry was still in full bloom, and Coach Peck had bought some new equipment. He got a new racket, one of those really nice metal rackets, and was showing it off, and it was a very nice racket. As the graduate assistant, there's not something I could have afforded.
It's better to look good than to feel good.
But Harry decided that if he was going to have that racket, he was going to go to Walmart and find the cheapest one that he could buy. So after the match, we went over there. He and I went over there, and he went around and he found the cheapest racket. I think it was wooden. I think they were still making wooden ones, and
Rod Laver?
and Rod Laver wooden one for $18.99 or whatever. And I said, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Well, I want to beat Dusty's racket with this racket, so I can have a one up on him." And so that's what he did. He went and bought a $19 racket, so he could beat Coach Peck with his new racket. So the rivalry that you talk about in your story continued even after you had left, and that is Harry's competitiveness. Not only the match, but the match within the match. So he was a special guy, and I don't think either one of us would be where we are without the contributions he made to our lives.
And I guess I should explain to the people that this was in 1988.
Exactly.
Even we were all much younger. I can't do the math, but that's kind of the way it goes.
Yeah.
So you want to get to games this weekend. It's going to be a good time, and the crowd needs to be a factor. I don't know. I make the football analogy a lot. My team's Green Bay, and for a few years, they've just been sitting there waiting for something bad to happen. And when the team did something good, I'm not saying this is an exact comparison, but I'd like Anchorage and UAA fans, lift up the team. Don't wait for the team to have the rally. You create the rally and you keep it going. So we need to see that home court advantage Thursday and Saturday.
Well, we have good fans, and we've got to give them a little better result ourselves. But it's a big weekend for us. I'm not sure what the order is, but our girls are playing before us at 5:15 on Thursday, and they're playing, I believe, Northwest Nazarene, who's in the top half of their league. Actually beat Billings 2 weeks ago.
Coach probably cares about that.
Yeah, coach's alma mater, and so I know they could use a good crowd and then bleed over into us, and we're playing a very good Western Washington team that we're battling for a playoff spot. So we can use all the support we can get, and I think that despite some of our struggles, we've got good kids who are easy to root for, and we've got some local kids, we've got some kids from outside, but they're all excellent student athletes who, it's easy to look out and want to root for those guys. And so we appreciate any support we can get this week. We're going to need it to make this final run in the last 9 games.
All right, so that's going to do it for this week's Rusty Osborne Show here at UAA, talking about UAA basketball games Thursday and Saturday. Special thank and shout out to Terry Burge, who's helped us out, and for Isaiah Vreeman as well. This has been Alaska's Sports Talk, and be sure and be with us next week. Thanks.